Yes, good morning, children. Now, chapter 2, the units and the measurement, and video number 3. Taking the recap of it, we have already explained that the order of magnitude. Now, order of magnitude is the approximate value which is written in the powers of 10. That is the order of magnitude. Now today we are beginning our discussion with the measurement of time. This is the third fundamental physical quantity. Now we are using the path length light travels in a certain amount of time of 1 upon 299,792,458 second to define a standard meter as the international standard of length. now अब आपको लग रहा होगा कि ये वैल्यूज जो है वो हम लोग जब पढ़ते थे तो हम लोगों ने भी ये याद की थी कि इतने टाइम में इतने टाइम का इतना पार्ट में जितना लाइट ट्रेवल कर लेगा वो दैट इज कॉल्ड द 1 सेकेंड और जितना पाथ ट्रेवल हो जाएगा दैट इज कॉल्ड द स्टैंडर्ड लेंथ या स्टैंडर्ड मीटर. नाउ सेकेंडली now we now make use of an atomic standard of time that is based on the periodic vibrations produced in a cesium atom. This is the fundamental basis of the cesium clock, or it can also be called the atomic clock. In this atomic clock, the second is taken as the duration of, now again this quantity is there, that is the 9,192,631,770 periods of vibrations of the radiation corresponding to the transition between the two hyperfine levels of the ground state of the cesium-133 atom. So this is the in between the time taken in the transition of this cesium-133 atom, and this is called the 1 second. This is the latest definition which we have for the defining the standard time. Now the quartz crystal clocks have an accuracy of 1 second in every 10 raised to the power 9 second, and secondly the atomic cesium clock, it is having the accuracy of 1 part in 10 raised to the power 13. That means it is very clear from these two notes that the atomic cesium clocks is the latest and more accurate in comparison to the quartz crystal clock. One thing more, that in the cesium atomic clock it is not losing or gaining more than just 3 microseconds in a year. Otherwise in the clocks there will be a much more difference during the year. So this atomic cesium clock is being considered because it is not losing the time or gaining the time by only 3 microsecond in 1 year. So which is, I think it is negligible, and our National Physical Laboratory, in short it is called the NPL, New Delhi, has the responsibility to maintain and improve the national standards, including that of time, frequency, etc. The national standard time, the second as well as the frequency, is maintained through 4 cesium atomic clocks, and Indian standard time is basically linked to this set of 4 atomic cesium clocks. Now if we find out the time, that age of the universe which we can calculate it is approximate in the powers of 10, that is in the order of magnitude, it is 10 raised to the power 17, or the wink of the eye, it is of the order of 10 raised to the power -1. The time between the successive human heartbeats, it is 10 raised to the power 0, and 10 raised to the power 0 is equal to 1. Now we are going to discuss very important terms that is the accuracy and precision of measuring the instruments and errors in measurement. Any measured value of physical quantity by any measuring instrument is usually different from its true value. जो भी किसी भी बॉडी का अगर हम लेंथ मेजर कर रहे हैं तो उसकी जो ट्रू वैल्यू है, जो उसकी एक्चुअल लेंथ है, अगर हम किसी भी मेजरमेंट से, किसी भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट से उसको मेजर करते हैं तो उसमें कुछ ना कुछ डिफरेंस आ जाता है. Thus, the result of all the measurements is an approximate number that contains some uncertainty, and this is called the error. In the same way, every calculated physical quantity based on measured values also has an error in it. Now, two terms comes in the picture. First term is known as the accuracy, and second term is defined in every book, that is the precision. Now try to understand, children, what is the accuracy and what is the precision. The accuracy of the measurement of a physical quantity by any measuring instrument is basically a measure of how close the measured value is to the true value of the physical quantity. On the other hand, precision tells us to what limit, to what extent, or to what resolution. It is also known as the least count of the measuring instrument, by which the particular physical quantity has to be measured. We are going to be measured. Now for an example, it is very clear from children that from the example which I am giving to you, suppose the true value of size of an object, the L is equal to 4.567 centimeters. If this length is measured by the vernier calipers, whose least count is 0.1 centimeters only, then we can get the length from the vernier caliper up to the 1 decimal places. That is the, suppose if L1 is 4.4 centimeters. Now if we are measuring the same length with the help of the screw gauge, and the screw gauge least count is 0.01 centimeter, and we are getting the result L2 is equal to 4.35 centimeters. Now we found that this L1 is near to the true value because it is 4.567 and L1 is 4.4. So if you compare, this 4.4 is very near to this actual value or the true value. So 4.4 L1 centimeter is having more accuracy but less precision. Understood? 4.4 centimeter, it is near to this, that is why it is having the more accuracy but less precision, because we are measuring the length with the help of the vernier calipers whose least count is only 0.1 centimeter. That up to the 1 decimal place we can measure it accurately. However, the L2 is 4.35 centimeters is having the less accuracy but more precision. That is, the least count of the screw gauge is 0.01 centimeters. So that is why the 4.35 centimeter, it is having the less accuracy with the true value because it is not near to the value of L, but it is having the more precision. That means the apparatus screw gauge which we are using, that can measure the length up to the 2 decimal places. That is its least count is 0.01 centimeter. Now every measurement of physical quantities is approximate due to the experimental uncertainties of or the errors in the measurement. Now we can say that the errors in measurement can be categorized as the two types of the errors. First is the systematic error and second is the random errors. So let us see what is the systematic error. Now these errors tend to be in one direction only, either they are positive or negative. As the causes of the systematic errors are well known, so such errors can be minimized. Some possible causes of the systematic errors are, we can say it is the instrumental error. For an example, in vernier calipers, the zero mark of the vernier scale may not exactly coincide to the zero mark of the main scale. This can be minimized by using more precise measuring device and by materializing zero correction. Either we use any other instrument, or if the zero correction is being made, our result will be more accurate. Here I have just see this figure very carefully. This is the main scale of the vernier calipers. This is also the main scale of the vernier calipers, and it is graduated from 0 to 1 centimeter, and this is the vernier scale. On the vernier scale generally we are having the 10 divisions, but you will find that the zero of the main scale is not coinciding with the zero of the vernier scale. So there is a zero error. If it is on the left side, if you are seeing, firstly you are able just to see the main scale 0, then after the vernier scale 0, then this is called the positive zero error. And this positive zero error, the value which you are observing, it should be subtracted from this observed reading and minus zero error and multiplied by least count of the apparatus. Similarly, if you are firstly able just to see the zero of the vernier scale first, then the main scale, then this is called the negative zero error, and this negative zero error, it should be added to the observed reading. Zero error is always multiplied by the least count. Now this is the first, that is the instrumental error, and second is the imperfection in the experimental procedure. Now any changes in the temperature, pressure, humidity, wind speed, or any such external environmental conditions during the conduct of the experiment may affect the measurement. For an example, if a thermometer is placed under the armpit, it will always record a temperature lower than the actual human body temperature, that is the 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. Now in the cases of the small newly born baby, if you want to just measure the temperature, it should be kept under the armpit. When we are grown up, then we are just putting the thermometer inside the tongue, inside our mouth, under the tongue. So there is a difference between this temperature when we are just putting the thermometer in our mouth under the tongue, and when we are putting the thermometer under the armpit. So this little difference is there. For an example, another example, just try to understand. When you are taking the general balance, then the air buoyancy is also acting in the upward direction. So we are not able just to measure the correct mass of the body, because the weight is in the downward direction and the buoyancy, air buoyancy, is in the upward direction. So a little bit difference from the actual weight of the body, and we cannot remove the air from everywhere. So this is the common experience. This is the cause of we are not getting the correct weight. Now in the cases of the heat experiments, we children know that no insulator is being present. We are using the cotton, along with the calorimeter. Around the calorimeter we are just filling this, but this is not the perfect insulator. So there must be some heat losses, and these heat losses we are ignoring. All these things, the temperature difference, the weighing of any body little less due to the buoyancy of the air, or radiation loss in heat experiments, it is ignored, may systematically affect the measurements. So this is the second possible way of having the systematic errors. Now the third possible way is, that is the personal errors. Very simple it is. It arises due to an individual's habit, inexperience or carelessness in taking the observations without observing the precautions properly or proper setting or handling of the apparatus. At children, हम लोग अच्छे तरीके से जानते हैं जब हम लेबोरेटरी में जाते हैं तो हम कितना केयरफुली काम करते हैं. तो ये पर्सनल एरर उसी की वजह से आ जाता है, क्योंकि हमारी कुछ हैबिट्स जो हैं वो इंडिविजुअल होती हैं और हम उस अपरेटस के में इनएक्सपीरियंस होते हैं, और कभी कभी हम टीचर्स को दिखाने के लिए कि आज ही कंप्लीट करना है, केयरलेसनेस में कुछ रीडिंग्स ले लेते हैं. तो ये हमारी वजह से ही ये पर्सनल एरर्स आती हैं, या हमने अपरेटस को अच्छी तरीके से सेटअप नहीं किया है, तो या अगर एडजस्ट किया है तो उस अपरेटस को हैंडल नहीं ठीक से कर पा रहे हैं, है ना, विदाउट द गाइडेंस. जैसे एक एग्जाम्पल, आई एम गिविंग यू ए वेरी सिंपल एग्जाम्पल. सपोज द 3 स्टूडेंट्स आर परफॉर्मिंग simply this reading. One boy is standing here, the second boy is standing here, and the third boy is standing here. So this is the first boy is seeing the 1.2 centimeters. Listen it carefully. If it is standing here, he is saying 1.2 centimeter, and the child who is standing here, he will say that the reading is 1.1 centimeter, and the child who is standing here, he will say that it is 1.3 centimeters. Now, these two are the wrong, because these are the errors obtained due to the parallax. Again, I am revising the parallax to you. If the same body is observed from the two different places, then there is a slight difference in the position of the body. So these are the errors due to the parallax, and it generally happens, and the students are doing this because they are just in the group and they are standing like this, and somebody is saying it is 1.2, somebody is saying that it is 1.1, and somebody is saying it is 1.3. Now let me clarify that just to avoid this error due to the parallax, this first student is measuring the accurate measurement, that is because it is seeing in a straight line, and this is the 1.2 centimeter is the accurate measurement. Now these personal errors can be minimized by the careful observation. We have to be very careful just to take the observations, or improving the experimental techniques, और सेलेक्टिंग द बेटर एंड मोर प्रिसाइज इंस्ट्रूमेंट. या तो हम इंस्ट्रूमेंट को ही बदल दें, या हम बहुत ही केयरफुल ऑब्जर्वेशन करें, और या फिर एक्सपेरिमेंटल टेक्निक्स को बदल दें, तभी हम इन सिस्टमेटिक एरर्स को एलिमिनेट कर सकते हैं. वी कैन मिनिमाइज दीज सिस्टमेटिक errors. Now children, it is all for today, and in the next video, that is the video number 4 which I am preparing for you, the chapter 2, units and measurement, we'll just see the random errors. We'll begin our discussion with the random errors, and thank you very much children for listening. Thank you very much.